Tonight, in a News Channel 20 special report, a treatable disease that can become deadly. We'll break down what you should be doing early and often to help defend yourself. Plus, an inside look at how treatments for breast cancer have evolved. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stacey Skryzak. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and here at News Channel 20, we want to do our part to shine a light on the disease that affects so many people around the world. That's why this evening, we're bringing you an entire newscast dedicated to the topic. We're joined by Sammy Morris to discuss topics such as the importance of early screenings and resources available to those looking for answers. We're going to check in with her in just a moment. But first, according to the American Cancer Society, apart from skin cancers, breast cancer is the most common cancer in women in the U.S. The organization estimates that in 2023 alone, there will be more than 290,000 new cases of breast cancer diagnosed, with experts saying early screenings can be the best defense in a breast cancer diagnosis. And Sammy Morris is the community navigator for the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program. It offers early screenings to women in our area. Sammy, thanks so much for coming by today.
Thanks.
What kind of early detection do women need to look out for?
Yeah, so the reason for early detection is because with the early detection methods of clinical breast exams and self-exams and mammograms, the survival rate can be 98%. Without those, it's closer to 66%, so that's a big difference.
And when we talk early detection, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so like I said, clinical breast exams, going to the doctor and getting that exam from them for them to figure out if there is any abnormalities there. Self-exams, doing the same thing at home, and mammograms. If you're over the age of 40, you need to get a mammogram every year because they can detect that at an earlier stage.
And I think a misconception, we've talked off camera about this, a lot of people, they worry it hurts or they don't want to go or it costs money.
Right.
It's something, it's a necessity. And
yes.
If it can save your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And what about the ages? You said 40 for a mammogram. What about the other detection?
Yeah, so starting at age 20, they actually recommend that you get a clinical breast exam every 1 to 3 years, depending on your family history and your age. And then at age 40, adding on that mammogram in addition to that clinical breast exam is very important.
Some really good information, Sammy. Thank you so much. And coming up a little later in the show, we're going to sit back down with Sammy to talk about the services offered by the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program. Well, if breast cancer is not caught early, it could spread. And this is what becomes known as metastatic cancer, meaning the cancer has spread to a different part of the body. Nearly 30% of women diagnosed with early stage breast cancer develop metastatic disease. Being aware of your family's medical history is a key factor in helping diagnose breast cancer early. A woman's risk for breast cancer is higher if she has a mother, sister, or daughter who have also had the disease. Talking to your family and relaying that information to your doctor can help identify symptoms early. Well, for those who get a diagnosis, breast cancer treatments have come a long way in recent decades. Our John Hansen sat down with a local doctor to get a closer look at why it's not your mom's treatment plan. John?
Yeah, Stacey, long gone are the days of having the same exact treatment for breast cancer as everybody else. In fact, Dr. Rachel Ashcraft says that this new modern type of treatment plan is making it pivotal in helping women beat this disease. Treatment for breast cancer started in the 17th century when French physician Dr. Henri Ledrain suggested surgical removal of tumors associated with breast cancer. And the treatment stayed that way until the 19th and 20th century, but since then, everything has changed.
Breast cancer specifically, it is one of the fastest evolving areas in medicine. So what I do today is even different than what I did 5 years ago.
Meaning the days of a single fix for everyone are gone.
We are constantly researching, evolving, and changing to try to tailor our treatments to the individual, to the person, so that they have the best possible outcomes.
Dr. Ashcraft says that is the center of modern treatments, tailoring it for each patient.
We're going to look at you, we're going to look at your characteristics, we're going to look at your cancer and find out what's important to you, and then design a treatment plan.
Dr. Ashcraft also says because of that tailor-made treatment and rapidly advancing research, there is no longer one way to stop the disease.
Some patients, depending on the type of cancer and their age and so on and so forth, may just need the cancer removed. We may or may not need to do anything with lymph nodes. There are new immunotherapies and targeted antibody therapies for systemic options that were not available even a few years ago.
Now that tailor-made treatment, like we just heard about, it helps also in two ways. One, because those patients know what the treatment is and that it's made for them, they have less anxiety and they're more confident in that. And secondly, the Dr. Ashcraft says that because of that, Stacy, more and more women are getting the opportunity to beat this disease and spend time with their families instead of worrying about cancer. Back to you.
All right, thanks, John. We're going to be checking back in with him for more on breast cancer in men in just a few minutes. Well, you may see a lot of businesses promoting products where a portion of the price is donated to breast cancer organizations, but you need to be careful about where your money's going. Think before you pink. It's a campaign that holds businesses accountable and makes sure your dollars are going to the correct organizations.
A lot of times a product will say a donation will be made. It really should say a donation will be made to Susan G. Komen, or $1 from every purchase will be given to Susan G. Komen. You want it to be specific so that you know who you're supporting.
Now, the key is making sure that the advertisement for the donation is not too generic, and do your own research if necessary. It's a name most of us know. Susan G. Komen has become synonymous with breast cancer awareness since the organization was created. While Susan G. Komen has become a household name, what you may not know is the Komen story stems from right here in central Illinois.
Susan G. Komen was born and raised in Peoria, Illinois. She was a young woman who died of metastatic breast cancer at the age of 36 in 1980. Her journey caused her sister to make a promise to her, and she promised her that she would do everything she could to find cures and help families so that no one had to go through what they went through.
Since then, Susan G. Komen has grown into a global movement focused on finding a cure for breast cancer, just as Susan's sister Nancy wished when she started the charity. Well, coming up after the break, breast cancer in men, the important factors men need to know about for a disease that mostly impacts women. Plus, access to early screenings. We're going to be checking back in with Sammy Morris with the options available to women in our area. And as we head to break, test your knowledge about breast cancer. When did mammograms first become recommended for? Less than 1% of all breast cancer cases occur in men, but because of its rarity, men are often diagnosed at a later stage. Our John Hansen is working for you now with why a man's family history is an essential part of knowing their risks. John?
Yeah, Stacy, it's not really something that men typically think about, breast cancer for themselves, right? But according to Dr. Rachel Ashcraft, it really is something, and there's a couple things that every man should be evaluating and thinking about before you rule it out of yourself. Out of every 100 breast cancer diagnoses given out, only one is given to a man, according to the CDC. That's why a big key component in men catching the disease is knowing your body.
If something feels weird, don't wait a year before you go in to have somebody look at it. It's like, oh, it's still there after a couple of months. Maybe just, have it looked at.
Doctors can then do genetic testing to find out if it's cancer.
Men especially have a tendency to delay a little bit before they would necessarily check something out. And so I always encourage, if there's something that they notice, just have it checked out sooner rather than later.
But even if you don't have any symptoms, there is one key thing that every man should know: their family history with the disease.
Particularly when you're talking about male breast cancer, there tends to be a pretty significant history in the family.
Then even if a man doesn't get breast cancer, but it is in his family, he could potentially pass that cancer gene to his children.
It is certainly possible for a man to have a breast cancer gene that he passes to his daughter without having breast cancer himself. It is the nature of genetics that half of the genes come from the mom, half of the genes come from the dad. So in a daughter who gets breast cancer, mom may not have had breast cancer, she may not have it in her family, but it's very prevalent on the other side.
And so there you have it. Like Dr. Ashcraft says, That's the reason why it's so important to know your family's history with this disease. Now, and Stacy, so if a man has, that gene and they have a large family history of breast cancer, they can actually go and be tested to see if they're carrying that gene and if they have the potential to pass it on to their children. I'll send it back to you.
All right, some very important information. Thank you, John. Now, still to come here on News Channel 20, we're to sit back down with Sammy Morris from the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program to discuss resources available to those facing this difficult disease. And here's the answer to our last question. The American Cancer Society began recommending mammograms in 1976. For the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program about their work that they have to make sure that women have access to cancer screenings. Now, Sammy, this was something interesting. I had no idea where you are housed at.
Yeah, we're actually housed at the Sangamon County Department of Public Health, just right here
I
in
had
Springfield.
no idea that this was an available resource. Talk about some of the part of the program that people might be able to utilize.
Yeah, so what we do is we provide free breast and cervical cancer screening services to women who are uninsured, underinsured, and those with high deductibles. So even if you do have insurance and it doesn't cover the services that you would need, like a mammogram or a breast exam, we will come in there and make up the difference. Same thing with high deductibles. If you can't pay for that deductible to get the service, we come in and cover the cost.
And I think that's something that a lot of people, we talked earlier, it's either the fear of the pain of getting a mammogram or it's the fear of the medical debt,
yes,
the medical costs. And even if, heaven forbid, it comes back that there is a cancer, you are able to then forward them on to other state services. Yeah,
absolutely. So we actually cover up to surgical consultation. So we cover a good ways up, but once you get to that point, you need treatment. We do pass on to the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services, and they cover, assist with the costs associated with treatment.
And we should mention men are also allowed to utilize this service.
Yeah, absolutely. If a man is symptomatic, they go to the doctor and they find a problem, then they are also qualified for this program.
Yeah, Sammy Morris, thank you so much. And of course, we have more information on the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program. And if you're eligible for its services, just head over to our website, newschannel20.com.
Now, your Storm Team weather with Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke.
Good evening, everyone. Not too many complaints about today's weather, as it did turn out to be a beautiful autumn day. We had some dry skies, and our temperatures today upper 50s to low 60s. Right now, we do have a mix of clouds and sunshine for the capital. We're sitting at 60 degrees. A little bit cooler, though, over the eastern part of the state where we've had some stubborn clouds, but elsewhere we did manage to climb into the 60s. Tonight, though, we're looking for mostly clear skies, a rather chilly evening. We'll be bottoming out close to 39 overnight tonight, but then a quick rebound, though, for your Tuesday, back up to around 64 during the afternoon, then dropping to the 40s Tuesday night. And check this out for Wednesday. Wednesday's going to be the warmest day this week, with our highs upper 60s to low 70s. So again, not too shabby for an October day. Here's our latest weather setup, and our low pressure system that has been our big weather maker continues to exit. Now we've got high pressure moving in from the west, and that high pressure will be the dominant weather feature for the next few days, providing some very quiet, tranquil weather. So looking ahead now for your Tuesday, we will start off rather nippy with those temperatures upper 30s to low 40s, but then warming up very fast. We'll be around 64 tomorrow with a good dose of sunshine. We'll keep the weather too pretty quiet at least through Wednesday, but then big changes later on this week. By the time we get into Thursday, increasing clouds. There will be a chance to see some scattered showers for Thursday morning. A few more scattered showers too, a possibility Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, perhaps even lingering on into early Friday. Then that system lifts out, and we'll have some drier skies though returning by the weekend. So overall, the best chance to see the rain will be Thursday, but for the most part, most of this week should be a fairly quiet weather pattern throughout central Illinois, with precipitation very, very limited. Tonight, though, if you're going to be out and about very late, grab that heavier coat or a jacket, down to 39 degrees tonight. But then a quick rebound tomorrow, as we were mentioning. Lots of sunshine, a pretty fall day, highs about 64. More nice weather, too, for Wednesday. After that, it starts to go downhill, getting a little bit more active with those scattered showers for Thursday. But by the weekend, more beautiful weather with temperatures generally in the 60s.
When we return, Family Impact, we take a look at how a breast cancer diagnosis affects those beyond the patient. And here's the answer to our last breast cancer facts question. The mortality rate for breast cancer has dropped by 42% since 1989. And our next question, what is the median age for breast cancer It also affects those loved ones around them, their family and friends. And I'm joined by someone that was directly impacted by breast cancer, and that's Marissa Johnson, a local author who we are so excited to have you here to tell us about this children's book that could help a lot of people.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So tell me, I guess first let's start. Your mother was diagnosed with breast cancer when you were a child.
That's right. When I was 11 years old, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer at the exact same time that my grandmother, her mother, was in hospice for the disease. So it was really a bizarre time in my life. It was strange to see the two strongest women in my life battling the same issue. Unfortunately, my grandmother has since passed away, but my mom is healed. She's been in remission for several years now. And so I am just happy to be able to share her story and continue on this legacy of strong women.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we're so glad to hear that she's doing well all these years later. Tell us about the book you wrote. I see it in the background. It's called My Pink Ribbons, and it has a ballet theme.
That's exactly right. My Pink Ribbons is pretty autobiographical. It follows the story of an 8-year-old girl named Hope, and she loves ballet, so much so that she uses it as a tool in learning about breast cancer from her mom and really trying to use the arts and ballet to learn that in the end, breast cancer is scary, but it's not something that we need to fear. Through knowledge of treatment and education, Hope learns that breast cancer is something that she can overcome in her family history, and she is able to pay tribute to her mother in a very special way, which is, of course, through her love of dance.
And the book, My Pink Ribbons, is available where books are sold. Marissa will be holding a book signing on October 28th at the Springfield Barnes & Noble. Just head over to our website for more information. Well, here's the answer to our last breast cancer facts question. The average age of a breast cancer diagnosis is 63. Only about 4% of breast cancers occur in women younger than 40. As we head to break, let's take a live look over the capital city thanks to the HSHS St. John's Hospital tower camera. We'll be right back. Not just in October. Susan G. Komen has a variety of resources available on their website for both patients and their families. From breast cancer education to emotional support, you can find more information for both on our website. And again, thank you for joining us for our special report for breast cancer awareness. You can find the full broadcast on our YouTube page. We'll see you back here at 6.